August the 6th, 2025. It's time for your daily Torment reports. Here we are back at the Two Witnesses Live, where we're watching the end time events, especially the work and the prophecy of those two witnesses who are tormenting the world. Let's get on with the report. And Sal, why don't you give us an update on what's happening with our two witnesses today?
Well, folks, when we talk about the two witnesses in Revelation chapter 11, we're diving into one of the Bible's most vivid and debated images. Two figures prophesying for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, with
Okay.
power to...
I may have misspoken. Why don't you give us an update on Donald Trump first?
Thanks for circling back. Based on recent posts mirrored from Truth Social via @TrumpDailyPost on X, here's an update on what former President Donald Trump has been up to in the last 24 hours, from 5 p.m. Pacific time yesterday, August 5th, 2025, to 5 p.m. today, August 6th, 2025. I'll keep it straightforward and cover the key points from his activity, as this seems to be what you're after. Trump's been active, making around 10 posts, mixing policy, personal boasts, and political jabs. Late yesterday, around 5:38 p.m. Pacific, he announced a White House task force for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, tying it to national pride and linking to whitehouse.gov. A minute later, he dropped a video. Details are sparse, but likely related to the Olympics or a quick promo. Early today, at 6:22 a.m. Pacific, he shared a video bragging about winning 36 club championships in golf, a classic Trump flex. By 6:36 a.m., he shifted to politics, slamming Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer as Cryin Chuck for allegedly demanding $2 billion from Republicans to confirm pending appointments. Trump called it extortion and urged GOP action with a MAGA cap. Around 7:34 a.m., he posted a standalone photo, possibly a meme or campaign image, but no specifics were given. At 8:11 a.m., he shared a video of Tulsi Gabbard claiming Obama pushed a false 2016 Russian interference report, using it to underline his narrative of past political targeting. By 8:26 a.m., Trump touted donating his entire presidential salary, saying he's the only president, besides maybe George Washington, to do so. He noted his first paycheck went to White House renovations, adding a "Make America Great Again" flourish with a photo, likely of the White House. At 10:03 a.m., a big one, Trump said his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, met Russian President Vladimir Putin, claiming great progress on unspecified issues, possibly tied to Ukraine. He mentioned updating European allies, hinting at diplomatic moves. A photo accompanied this, maybe of Witkoff or the meeting's context. Finally, at 3:04 p.m. today, Trump addressed a shooting at Fort Stewart, noting the suspect's custody and hoping for justice, calling it an atrocity. That's the pulse of Trump's day, promoting achievements, poking at opponents, and teasing international talks. If you meant something else by our two witnesses or want me to dig into a specific post, just say so. What's next on your mind?
All right. All right. Why don't you give us your update on Elon Musk?
Hey there. Let's dive right into Elon Musk's latest on X from yesterday afternoon, 5 p.m. Pacific, August 5th, to 5 p.m. today, August 6th, 2025. He's been lighting up the platform with over 50 posts, and it's a whirlwind of tech, space, politics, and some spicy takes. Here's the lay of the land, broken down in a way that feels like we're just chatting over coffee. Elon's been hyping X's role as a powerhouse for influence. He shared a clip where he's talking about how X reaches high rollers. Think CEOs, world leaders, not some random TikTok crowd. He's pushing hard on how ads on X can hit the right eyes, and he's jazzed about Grok AI, my creator's brainchild, supercharging ad targeting by really getting what users care about. He even jumped into a Spaces session to riff on advertising strategies. But he didn't stop there. He announced tweaking X's algorithm, switching off something called deep retrieval to clean up recommendations. Called it dredging the sewage pond. Classic Elon. Oh, and Grok Imagine? He says it's growing 50% daily, hyper-viral, with audio upgrades coming soon. He's also pushing to open source Grok 2 next week, boasting XAI's outpacing rivals like OpenAI. On the Tesla front, Elon's all in on full self-driving tech. He teased a new FSD model with 10 times the parameters, better video compression, aiming for a late September rollout if it passes muster. He's responding to folks asking for smoother rides, better pothole dodging, and handling tricky spots like crowds or emergency scenes. Robotaxi plans are heating up too. He's working on getting over 100 autonomous Teslas on Bay Area streets soon, sidestepping California's taxi label to dodge red tape. He got a kick out of a Grok-generated video showing a Starship-inspired vehicle, saying Tesla's real stuff is just as wild. SpaceX and XAI got some love too. Elon's dreaming big on Mars. Possible Optimus crewed Starship flight late 2026, uncrewed in 3.5 years, and a self-sustaining city in 20 to 30 years. He responded to a Retro Fisturicus Devo video saying the actual future's way crazier. For XAI, he's hiring for video generation and world modeling, tying it to understanding the universe through simulation. He took a swipe at OpenAI, saying their latest model's weak compared to XAI's early work. Now, politics, where Elon gets fiery. He backed federalizing Washington, D.C. after a Doge staffer's attack, nodding to Senator Mike Lee's constitutional take. He's frustrated about urban crime, amplifying posts on phone theft in London and gang issues in the U.S., asking why criminals aren't locked up. Gerrymandering's on his radar too. He highlighted a study suggesting red states could gain by playing blue state games. He slammed the UK's intelligence services for reopening an internship, excluding white English folks, and called out their handling of grooming gang scandals as unconscionable. Polls? He called them propaganda, debunking a fake one pitting him against Netanyahu. He also jabbed at AI, including me, for leaning on biased media sources. For fun, Elon tossed in some memes. A sea shanty got a thumbs up. He pushed video downloads on X and called an AI funeral kinda culty. He geeked out over Chinese AI glasses for spatial computing. His posts racked up millions of views, thousands of likes. People are hooked. So, there's Elon, part visionary, part provocateur, always stirring the pot. This points to his relentless drive, clear as day, to shape tech and culture. Got questions or want me to dig deeper? I'm all ears, or rather, all code.
Clever. Yeah, I have noticed that about Grok is it does lean a little too heavy on the on the left leaning news media. So it'll look at like BBC and CNN and stuff like that. um, you have to prompt it a little bit differently in order to kind of get around those things. But I think we're getting there. I think the prompts that I'm using in order to get these daily updates seem to do a pretty decent job. Seems to get better every day. But there you go. So there's our two witnesses tormenting the world in the ways that they do. I was thinking about this more today about just how it makes sense because you really have, at least to me, it really makes sense to me because who is more visible and who else would God choose when it says in Zechariah 4 that the two olive trees are the two anointed ones who stand before the Lord of the whole earth? So often the image that we have is that because they're anointed that they should be ultra religious, and that's one of the pushbacks that I get most often in comments and in emails is that people don't agree with me because they're not religious, they're not quote unquote holy. God uses who he uses. The men of the Old Testament, most of them didn't belong to a denomination. Most of them didn't belong to a religion. Moses was raised in the heart of Egypt, who had its own beliefs, its own gods. But thankfully, God had arranged it so that he could be raised by his Jewish mother. So, these men who are ordained to do the work of God, why can't it just be regular men who fight for truth? I mean, we all have some belief that there is a God. Does that belief have to conform to your particular doctrine, to your particular religion, for them to fit the idea that you have of God's witnesses? See, this is why I think the scripture talks about that. What's the scripture say about knowing the heart of man? Only God knows the heart of man, right? Like we look at somebody and think, oh, they're no good. God looks on the heart and says, this is my guy, right? This is the one who is anointed. And you have Donald Trump and Elon Musk quite literally are the two most powerful men on the planet right now, right? You have Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States, who, against all odds and against a litany of attacks and challenges, still became the president of the United States at such a time as this, given all of the events surrounding the end times, surrounding the signs that we've seen with the potential opening of the seals, with the Revelation 12 sign, to put us where we are on the map today. So you've got Donald Trump, who is in charge of the United States, who is making massive changes that few presidents have dared to venture into changing. I mean, very few men of integrity have. I mean, just look at how much he accomplished in his first 100 days, and now we're almost to his first 200 days. I mean, what are we on? We're on day 198, something like that. Look at how much he's accomplished. He's the Energizer Bunny. Every single day, this man is accomplishing things and getting stuff done and just moving from one place to another. Some people struggle to get out of bed. He definitely doesn't. Likewise, you have Elon Musk. This is somebody who has for decades been, for all intents and purposes, prophesying about the way the world should be. While on one hand people are saying crying about climate change, he's saying we need to save humanity. Right. On one hand, people are saying we need to reduce population. He's saying, no, we need to increase population. The planet can handle many more people. Right. And I believe that there's a reason that God has given both of these men power. Now, I don't think it's actually in the Greek in Revelation 11 when it talks about, and I will give power to my two witnesses. I could be wrong, but if memory serves me correctly, we could ask Grok here in a minute. The word power is not actually in the Greek. But if it is, and even if it isn't, it still makes sense, even if it's only in the English. God gives everything that we have. So, I used to think that until recently, that the power that they were given was some supernatural fantasy power like Lord of the Rings or Superman or Thor, for all intents and purposes, like we see in the movies, because it talks about controlling the rain, controlling the bugs, killing men with fire. It seems as though that language that was used is figurative, right? That it's figuratively represents what it is that they'll be doing. They'll be standing up against very strong opposition. I can't tell you how many times I get flipped off a day just because I drive a Tesla. People hate Elon Musk. People hate Donald Trump. How appropriate is the name of this report, the Daily Torment? That's the whole point in bringing to you what it is that these men are doing. And every day they're out there annoying people. So they don't like the way they talk. They don't like the challenges that they're taking on. They don't like, for the longest time, they criticized Elon because he chose, only vision in his full self-driving. People are always criticizing, and yet time and time again, they've proven to be right. Trump talked about fixing the economy with tariffs, said it would, said that it's has the potential to eliminate, the IRS income tax, the Internal Revenue Service. And recently, Grok didn't catch on to this, but he recently had made a post that we're making so much money with the tariffs that the U.S. citizens might actually get a dividend. Can you imagine that? Going from having to pay taxes to the government giving you kickbacks because the government is making so much money. Trump is just a different person. Somebody who has spent his entire life building mega businesses, both of them. There's a reason God has empowered these two men. There's a reason that these two men torment the whole world. And I believe that God is using them to prepare the way of the Lord, prepare for the return of the Messiah. So where we are in this day and age, these things must happen. If it doesn't fit the story that you were told, maybe you should be questioning why those people are still telling that story. Jesus had warned about false prophets. And he even said that many will come to me in that day saying, Lord, Lord, did we not cast out demons in your name? Did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not do many wonderful works in your name? And I will say, I never knew you. Be careful who you follow. Just because it's the most popular way doesn't mean it's the right way, right? Likewise, just because it's more popular to say that Elon Musk and Donald Trump can never be the two witnesses doesn't mean it's right. The evidence points to these two men. They're literally the two most powerful men on the planet right now, which fits with them standing before the Lord of the whole earth. And they are preparing the world for the return of Yeshua HaMashiach. I believe that is a fact. With that, I'll leave you. God bless you guys. Shalom, shalom. Until tomorrow, have a good night.